Brad Jordan, a.k.a. Scarface, who actually, Brad, this passed in 2020, or something before that, he ran for a council seat in the city of Houston. And he was a first-time politician. Unfortunately, he did not win. But, it raises, things of that nature. It's just like Lady T, Latorya. Latorya is running now, being an African-American woman and first-time candidate for the city of Cleveland, a mayoral candidate. So I'm going to ask you this, Ms. Switcher. Why just run for city council instead of running for one of the highest seats in Cleveland?
Well, I'm a go-getter. So if I set my mind to something, I'm going to go for it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with running for city council, but I feel like I can do more for my city and with my mission and to spread the love that is desperately needed for the city. So, I mean, I always was the person that aimed high.
Okay. So you have been a community organizer with BWE. You have done with the entertainment. What are the tangibles? What are the tangible skills that you can bring from running the BWE enterprise to the leadership position of the city of Cleveland? What do you think the tangible skills are?
I mean, first of all, business. That's number one. Being creative. We lost, a lot of our people in the city has lost that niche of creativity, and just the passion. Bringing out passion and determination and showing those people that you can do anything if you set your mind to it.
Okay. So now the thing about it is that we have a lot of, now the issue that we have here is like you brought up something about homicides. There's been 15 homicides in the city of Cleveland. The biggest issue is crime, and not just crime on the street. Mm-hmm. We're talking about corruption. We're talking about all that. So my question to you is, how do you stop the crime from the city of Cleveland going into the neighborhood?
Working with the Chief Williams, getting community involvement, getting these unknown, I call them silent activists, and local known activists together to be able to patrol our streets and make sure that they're safe. Sometimes you got to take it back a little bit old school. Sometimes people have lost the values of why it's important to protect our community. So, getting those, working with Chief Williams within the strategy. I'm actually coming up with a project. It's called Generation Cleanup that actually focuses in on those, on the aspect. And within my proposal, it states that I want to work with Chief Williams. I want to work with organizations. I want to work with community activists in the community to build neighborhood watches and bring those back up again. Making sure there's accountability for those that do wrong, and building that trust factor so that way we can clean up our cities, because we lost trust within our law enforcement as well.
Right. So, Dr. Montgomery, thank you, Doc, for bringing that up on my Facebook. Do you want to defund the police, or do you want more police in the community?
I don't want to defund them, but we do need more help, and that's where the community comes in at. If we're gonna make the decision to defund the police, then it's time for the community activists and leaders to step up and actually police our streets.
Right. So speaking of police, Chief Calvin Williams, the chief of the city of Cleveland Police. Now, Mayor Frank Jackson appointed him, and you have the power to do the same if you win. Would you keep Calvin Williams, or would you fire the Cleveland Police Chief right now?
I mean, everybody needs work. So, I would keep him on if I was mayor, but I'll still be watching, and I'll be watching how he handles things and handles situations in our city.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
I'm done.
All right. So, did you get a chance to read the Cleveland City Charter?
I did. I'm actually in the process of reading it now, looking over everything and studying what needs to be studied in the guidelines. Okay,
so you have, like I said, you're coming up against, now as far as crime, the other thing is corruption. There's been a lot of FBI investigations.
Oh, yeah.
One councilman got indicted, one of those things. Now, the thing about it is, how would you help clean up city council with the power of the Cleveland City Charter at your disposal if you were mayor?
Well, getting those together, seeing what they're actually, as far as the councilmen go, seeing what they're actually doing in their communities, so we can find out if the funding that is given to those communities is in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one, and keeping a track of it. Not to speak on that particular councilman, but I felt as though that he wouldn't have been able to get away with that for so long if nobody, if somebody was watching him and making sure the books and the records were kept the way they were supposed to be.
All right. So another question popped up. Lavelle Thomas, who's actually running for City Council Ward 6. Thank you, Lavelle. Now, what are your thoughts on police officers who have negative stereotypes towards black people and Latinos? Because we do have police shootings that were deadly towards unarmed African American citizens in the city of Cleveland.
You got to hold them accountable. I believe that all officers should go underneath psychiatric and behavioral management training at least every 6 months. So it's all about trust in the communities. Officers got to build trust in order for the community to call out for their help.
Okay. So do you think that those police officers should be, if fired like we have a whole situation in East Cleveland where one officer has been pretty much a runaway gun. He has killed an unarmed African American male and arrested countless others who are not convicted of their crimes, and they have to be, and some of those officers have been investigated by other activists and advocates, and they don't have their OPATA, their our peace officer training certification. How would you work at the city council and Chief Calvin Williams find those officers in Cleveland and either get their have them get their certification, or have them removed from their positions as being police officers if they refuse to get their certification?
Well, if that officer, what may have you, on that situation, I would automatically fire him. Because, again, it goes back to getting trust in our communities. We can't have officers running around in our communities shooting down our people. I mean, I have a son. Mm-hmm. And, I fear for his life every day when he walks outside. So if officers cannot be held accountable, especially to that extreme, then they have to be fired. And then we can get some people that actually really do care about the community and reevaluate our whole situation. And that takes, the work of me and Chief Williams.
All right. So the thing about it is, Dr. Montgomery brought up another question. Now, hold them accountable requires cooperation from the police union. And unfortunately, due to past instances, that the police union has not been the best friend of pretty much law enforcement, things of that nature. So how do you get a working relationship with the police union to get rid of bad officers in the city of Cleveland?
It starts with strategy, an outline of plan. What is needed? What do we expect as a community? Because it takes a community effort. So I'm going to be reaching out to the community to what they want to see, outlining it out, and then that way we can negotiate what can and cannot be. It starts with written down, mm-hmm. and working it from there. I mean, I know we don't have a good relationship within the police union or what may have you, but it's all about both sides of the community. The community don't trust the police because they're killing down our kids and killing down our women and men, and the police, they still looking and leery because they don't want to be stereotyped a certain way. So we have to come into the middle. So I'll say, get the voices of the people, writing it down, strategizing it, and going, to Chief Williams and the police union to build up a 50-50 strategy that'll be beneficial for everyone, if possible.
Okay, so now that you have that established with the police union, mm-hmm. What would you do as far as community engagements? I know it's a pandemic, you can't do a whole lot. So what can you do as far as community engagements to get the public involved and make sure that the public knows that there's a new sheriff in town and our streets can be safe? What would be your first thing?
I've already started trying to network either in person or via social media because we are in the technology age, and doing town hall meetings virtually and in person with small settings, of course, practicing social distancing, and actually going out to these events or what may have you, and actually talking to the people and talking to the organization.
Okay. Well, Lavelle just made a statement. The biggest culprit in the police is the dispatcher who describes, an assailant or somebody, as far as that. So 911, you pretty much have to work with all these particular things. Mm-hmm. What is your overall goal, if you are mayor, to see what you can do to make the public safe as far as police is concerned, and balance that the police officers, that you want them to do their job, you just want them to do it with decorum and respect for other people and including other races and other genders?
It goes back to somebody has to make sure that they're doing the proper training. They're all about listening to the community and listening to the people, because the people are out there dealing with these situations and taking them seriously. You get a complaint going through the door, if the dispatch is calling you, saying it's calling, it says emergency, or what may have you, making sure that the dispatch has proper training to know how to make sure every detail is down, so that way when the officer or the fire department or the ambulance comes out, they know exactly what's going on, not just half step.
Okay, so you also have to deal with other aspects of, you have to deal with the governor's office. You have to deal with, as the governor's office, you have to deal with state reps and other officials in there. How would you create a forum that those, no matter what party, those people, because we have a congressional race in District 11 and other districts, how would you create that relationship with those elected officials if you are elected to being mayor?
It goes just coming out and speaking. Hey, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to do to bring everybody together. I'm actually doing that right now. Going around saying, hey, I'm bringing unity in the community. If I'm your mayor, I want to listen to you. I want to hear you. And if it starts with the people, then it works up to me. And then we can go ahead and go to congressional and Senate and governor and say, hey, this is what we came up with for our city. Okay.
Now, another thing that I'm going to ask you is this. Excuse me, corporations. Now, I mentioned the corporations that are already in the city of Cleveland. Mm-hmm. How would you bring jobs and other corporations and companies to have them, hey, open your business up in Cleveland? How would you work that relationship? Is somebody looking to develop small business, a large business, to bring not only opportunity for people to advance their careers, but also people who have been employed or underemployed, to get them a better shot at living a better life?
I mean, it all starts with businesses and corporations showing the outsource people what in-source can do. We outsource a lot in our city, from the road work to the streets and everything. That's all outsourced. Mm-hmm. But if an outsourced person wants to invest in source, I would be like, look, you can start your business here. Let's start with self-investment. Let's start, breaking it down. If you don't know how to run a business, let's provide the resources to teach you.
All right. And the thing about it, one of the biggest things, especially in the construction industry, is the lack of opportunity for particularly African-American men and women in construction and other places. And some of the higher executive jobs, we do not see an African-American face. How would you talk to the corporations about equal opportunity for them?
As far as equal opportunity, looking at how long that person has been there, how long, really trying to sit down with the corporations to let them know, like, this worker right here is just as qualified. Everybody needs a chance. Everybody needs a start somewhere. So if the person is qualified, I don't see why, and actually advocate or have a representative go with that person if they really want that position, advocate for them on their behalf. And then making sure they got the proper, whatever is required for them to get that job, helping them if it's additional education, convincing the corporations to, give that, additional education if that worker is qualified for the job.
All right. Another point brought up, thank you, Dr. Montgomery, and I actually was going to bring that up. We have a high crime rate, and some people deserve a second chance. Would you consider the city's policy of keep on hiring felons or ex-felons?
Yes, because everybody deserves a second chance. You know, how can you institutionalize a black man or a black woman and have them spend so many years in jail and then expect them to come out and automatically find a job?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I would, continue with the rehiring of, people with backgrounds, because there are some people out there that are looking for a second chance, that have learned their lesson and really want that opportunity to be able to provide for themselves and their families, to give a positive light within their future.
Would you help businesses who hire ex-felons give an incentive more?
Yes.
To if they hire felons on their record to give them an incentive?
Yes, because again, everybody deserves a second chance.
Okay. And the biggest, and the thing about it is, let's get down to education. There's been a literacy problem in the city of Cleveland that's been going on for a while. How would you help the Cleveland public school system work with the Eric Gordon as far as, getting these children involved in school and reading programs and things of that nature? Would you have an open relationship with him as well?
Yes, because education, I'm glad you brought that. Education is one of my biggest things. And for our children to be, not able to read at the levels that they're supposed to is concerning for me. Helping, Eric Gordon to develop more sources, not just for the kids, but for the parents as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that I've spoken to, a lot of stories that I've heard about this remote learning. A lot of parents have not even graduated high school or have a ninth grade education and don't even understand what the work that is given to their kids. But if there's some type of resources or virtual materials to help break it down, I think that it would be better. Letting our kids know that, we can develop tutoring. It's all about in the neighborhoods too. If Miss Susan down the street know how to do algebra or what may have you, let's encourage Miss Susan to develop a program, a little tutoring session, either virtually or in face-to-face on sessions.
Okay.
It's a community thing. That's how we're gonna live, because it takes a village to raise a child.
All right. Natalie Fitton brought up a point, and I'm going to bring up something else. Thank you, Natalie, for listening. Would you help other organizations in their efforts in delivering reading programs?
Yes. Like I said, literacy is a major problem. So why not help? Why not put that funding in there so our children and our adults can be able to read and understand and comprehend what they're signing and have understanding of what they're signing and what they're doing, and it'll make it better for their futures, whatever their adventures and endeavors are. So yes.
Right. So, as far as everything, writing policy, you being a first-time person running in politics, there are naysayers out there, and I'm going to bring this up, and this is going to be the headache question. How do you respond to the people that say that, everybody, you're coming in brand spanking new, you're a woman, African-American woman. Those, and somebody, I heard somebody said they won't vote for anybody that's a dancer or an entertainer or somebody that's outside of the political realm. They won't do it. They won't work with them. And I've heard an activist say that on another program. How do you respond to those people who think like them, especially those people who have been in the trenches fighting for civil justice for the rights of the city of Cleveland residents?
Well, one, I always know there's always going to be haters in the group. But if you're a person that's screaming for change all the time, and the change is going to come regardless of what it be, entertainment or whatever the background is. Because again, I'm not just an entertainer. I'm not just an entertainer label owner. I actually have a community organization. I actually teach our kids different things in our communities to embrace them and their families. But I don't pay attention to that, because if you want change in your community and you really want to see change in politics, then you should embrace somebody that want to step up to the plate, regardless of it should never be stereotyped. I know that I'm going to have battles that I need to face and stereotype because I am a woman, but so what? Because maybe it's time for a woman to step up to the plate.
Well, we do have the first African-American woman Indian vice president right now, so somebody had to take that first leap. So,
Right.
So the thing about it is, This is another one that I'm going to bring up. If you end up not getting enough votes to pull off being the mayor of the city of Cleveland, if you lose, what would you do?
I'm still gonna continue to fight. I'm gonna still keep doing what I'm doing. I'm never gonna stop that. My whole idea for running, is not just for the votes. I just really genuinely want to get the voice of the people heard. So if that's not enough, I'm still continue my fight as much as I've been doing for almost 20 years with my organization to keep spreading, knowledge and teaching our youth and families for both East Side and West Sides to be better, and maybe hopefully someone will actually be able to have that opportunity that I didn't have.
All right. So the thing about it is that, what we're going to talk about, you have to have a budget, a war chest, and also grassroots organization. What do you bring as far as the grassroots stuff?
As far as financially, the goal is for right now, 10,000. Right now I'm starting small because like you said, I'm a first timer. And then gradually it will grow by the things, more stuff that I actually do and actually present. But right now, at the beginning stage, it's 10,000. Hopefully we can get up to 100,000, 120,000.
Okay. All right, that's what's up. So thank you very much. So we're going to take a break now. Thank you, Dr. Montgomery, Shakim Shabazz, Lavelle Thomas, Janice Young, Kyle Early, again, Lavelle Thomas, Reginald Holcomb, Troy Harris, Andre Yarborough, and Sierra Mamba, MBA, for being on my Facebook. And we're going to take a short break. We're going to bring up another Cleveland artist. And thank you for all my IG people that's watching. So when we come back, we're going to talk to more with Latorya T. Witcher, Lady T. And yes, one of the oldies but goodies that I brung up is everybody's talking about MC Brains. Shout out to none other than the first platinum artist here in the city of Cleveland, MC Brains. We're going to come back with the headline eye and talk to more with Lady T. We'll be right back.
Look at Dr. Montgomery trying to get me. I told him